As someone who's climbing regularly now, I wanted to put a couple of tips together for some new climbers who really want to progress and get better. These are some simple, almost mindset techniques that will really help change the way you see climbing and be able to progress further in your grades, in your technique, and the way that you approach climbing. So there's 10 tips altogether. Let's begin. Tip number 1, make sure that you are warm. Warming up is something that is really essential to climbing. It makes a total difference. It prevents injury. It helps lengthen the amount of time you can climb as well. And a lot of people do it very differently. So some people like to do a 10-minute core workout with jumping jacks and sit-ups and everything. Some people like to use an exercise band. Some people like to just stretch every part of their body from the head to the ankles, including your wrists and your hips and your arms. And the most common way that I've found a lot of people do is by just doing the easiest climbs in the gym. So that could be a V0 or a VB climb, and just doing laps of it. So climbing up to the top and also down climbing, using your arms, using your legs, getting very familiar with climbing movements again. And that in turn will just get you ready to climb harder grades. So I essentially do VB, V0 grades alternatively as much as possible, and then I'll gradually incorporate like a V1 and go up from there. Tip number 2 is to read your route. Before you jump on the climb, take a step back, observe the route off the mat as well if possible. Take a sec to identify which holds are the footholds, identify which holds are the handholds. Are the handholds maybe jugs that you can hold on really easily, or they may be harder and tinier like little crimps? Do your hands and feet have to swap maybe halfway through? Where is the top hold that you're aiming for in the end? There's a lot of factors to consider before you jump onto a climb, and if you do this consistently, you'll get a lot better at reading routes and knowing how to position your body. Another thing to be aware of when you're reading your route is to ensure that you are aware of people on routes that are overlapping with yours. I've seen a lot of close calls with new climbers where they don't realize that someone else is going to overlap, and it causes a high chance of both of you getting injured. So please be aware of others and just make sure that you're aware of your surroundings before you jump on. Tip number 3 is to keep your arms straight when you're climbing. I see a lot of chicken wings in the gym, like a lot of people just like grabbing and pulling themselves up, and that is the easiest way to tire yourself out, because you're just doing this pulling motion, your entire body weight is on your arms, and you'll get fatigued so quickly. Editing Manda here. I just wanted to quickly add why we want to climb with our arms straight, as by climbing with our arms straight, we're distributing all that weight that would have otherwise stuck within our bent arms across our whole skeleton, so you're climbing more efficient and you're not wasting as much energy as you would with bent arms. Okay, back to the video. Tip number 4 is to use your legs. The biggest misconception about climbing is that it's all upper body, it's all arms. It is the opposite of that. It's a full body workout, and you use your legs and your arms to help yourself get to the top of the climb. The easiest way to implement this is just by standing up when you're using your feet. I know a lot of people like to use their arms, like I said before, to get up. If you use your foot just to push up and to stand up, you'll get so much closer to a whole bunch of different holds that are further up and higher. Climbing is essentially a pattern of pushing up with your feet, then grabbing hold with your arm, then using your feet to get up higher, then your arms to get higher, and just repeat this next step. And with that, tip number 5 is to use your toes. Not your entire foot, just use your toes for now. I know you can use your heel, but you will learn that eventually as you climb more. A lot of people say this is a hold. They will stick their foot on it like that. That doesn't give you any room to move or twist or position yourself any further than here. So it would be a better idea to put your foot on a hold like this with your toe resting on the hold. That way you're able to have this full range of motion, as well as go up on your tippy toes if there are any holds that are slightly out of reach as well. It makes a total difference, and you just have to trust your feet. I know that you'll hear that a lot when you're just starting out. Trust your feet. Really trust your feet, because the rubber will stick, and if you fall, you're falling on a mat. So don't be afraid. You've got this. Tip number 6 is all about the hip placement. Hip placement is really critical when it comes to climbing. You want to keep your hips close to the wall as much as possible. This way you'll be able to stay onto the wall longer, as well as thinking about where your hips are going to be when you make the next move. Your hips are the center of gravity, so when you are moving from one position to the other, by being aware of where they're going to be in the next position, you're able to make that transition a lot smoother and you're able to stay onto the wall. Tip number 7 is to take rests. Bouldering is akin to running up a flight of stairs, so if you're doing it one after the other, you're gonna get tired really quickly. And I know that feeling when you're working on a climb and you're so close to finishing it and you just want to work on it till you get to the top. Just take a step back, find a seat, have some water, watch someone else do a climb on the other side of the gym just to give your body a break, and attempt it after maybe 10-15 minutes. You'll notice a complete difference once your body has taken a chance to recover. Tip number 8 is flagging. In a very basic format, it's essentially a way to counterbalance your body on a wall when you are climbing. So say that I am trying to reach this hole that's so far to my right, I can try and stick out my left foot out so that it is just against the wall or maybe just floating in the air, and that'll allow me to stick onto the wall a lot easier than without. I'll probably like barn door out if I don't flag. And flagging will really help you stay on the climb for longer and be able to twist and position your body in a way that'll help you reach the top. Tip number 9 is to get familiar with falling. Falling is a natural part of climbing. There's a lot of fear associated with falling. I still have a little bit of fear when I do climb now, and it's not logical, it's just kind of this human nature fear of falling and getting injured. A lot of friends that I bring out bouldering, they will try a climb that they really want to finish and they'll get kind of almost to the top and they'll be really tired, really ready to just rest, but they're too scared to let go or to down climb. And the easiest way to get used to falling is by practicing falling. So if you climb a really easy route, you can just climb like a meter of it, or maybe to a point where you're not afraid to let go and just practice falling into your back, keeping your arms in and your knees in as well. As long as you know that the mat will be there to protect you, you'll be able to climb without having to think about the falling part. Tip number 10 is to jump on climbs that are outside of your range. I know it's very easy to get caught up in grades, but they're very subjective and they're not standardized across gyms or crags if you're going outdoors. By trying out parts of a really hard climb, your body will get familiar with how to position when you attempt it next time, and that's how you get better at climbing, by just trying hard stuff and always pushing your body to learn how to position in a new way. That's how you grow in climbing. I used to be so scared of climbing outside my boundaries, and I just made no progression at all because all the climbs within that V0, V1 grade problems were all so similar, and it doesn't give you a chance to evolve. So you don't have to climb the entire V4, V3. You can just figure out, get used to how a hold of that grade feels like, try a part of it, see if you can start it, just have fun with it. It shouldn't be down to grades. It should be about you progressing as a climber, enjoying different varieties of climbing, finding your strengths, and just having fun with it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to be of a certain standard. Just enjoy it. I know it's easier said than done, but yeah, just enjoy it. Those are my 10 tips for beginner climbers. Please let me know if any of these are helpful for you, or if you have any tips that you learnt when you are starting out climbing. I'd love to know in the comments below. I'll see you in next week's video. Thanks for watching. Bye!